Well, hello ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to Ian's Adventures on this occasion here in the great outdoors. Please enjoy the channel, take it for what it is. Sometimes there's a lot of videos goes on in a short period of time, and sometimes there's a gap, so it gives you time to catch up. Alright, on this channel you're going to get wild camps, you're going to get equipment reviews, gear that I've made myself, things that I've made myself like bowls and cups and spoons. You're going to get different bits of gear. You're going to get stealth camping, but also bushcraft camping. So please enjoy the channel. Remember to like, share and subscribe. And if you get the chance, hit the bell below. Alright, so when I put any new content on, it'll ding up on your phone or whatever it is that you're using. Thank you very much for stopping by. See you in a bit. Thank you very much. Well, hello ladies and gentlemen, and very warm welcome to Ian's Adventures on this occasion here in the shanty shack. Normally we're over there working on the table at the side, but today we're coming in the shanty shack because I don't know what the weather's going to do. Today I'm going to show you some bits I've recently made, but also we're starting on this burl bowl. Ian gave me this from Ian and Ian's Fantastic Adventures, and it's a bit of a ball ache, if I'm going to be honest. Now when you're making something like this, it'd be easy to get on some tools, some electric tools basically, and either router it out, or drill it out, drill it through with loads of holes and then sort of empty it. But I don't do it like this. We use bushcraft tools. So I'm going to be using my adze. I've got two adze here. I've got the larger one and I've got the small one, which I take out and about with me. So it takes a long time. And basically how it works is, nobody knows what an adze is. I'll bring you in and show you one in a minute. It's basically that. It's a sort of metal chisel scoop. And the idea behind it is that you use it to hollow out the wood inside the bowl. Now these burls are renowned to be brittle. So you've got to be very careful when you're doing this that you don't break the burl. So the way that I do it, I sort of balance myself. I have my arm, I get down to this handle, hello lady, and I get my elbow on my knee, and I just regimentally work at it, steady, 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 sporadically turning it as time goes by. Now this takes a long time. And as the burl becomes older and drier, the harder it gets to work with. My cookser is silver birch, and that was a nightmare. I've had a few others, but my own personal one took me about 6 months in total to make, because I was drying it out systematically over an extended period of time to make sure it didn't crack. And that's what I normally do. And then once I've worked on it, I put it back in a bag, and a bag which is breathable with its own chippings, so that it dries down over a regimented period of time. But with these burls, I sort of just leave them outside in shed. Never take them inside the house, especially if you've got central heating on. These items don't like to dry out too fast. Now if you're talking about selling something like this, if you were to buy one on eBay, a burl bowl, and it was made by drills and all that kind of stuff, and routers and things, the price is going to be lower, I think, because of the time it takes to make it. You can consider that if you're making something with electrical tools, you're going to be able to just sort of put it onto the side and get stuck in and get it all just routed out. It's going to take a few minutes, you know. But with this takes extended hours. And then once this part's done, I've got to get my axe, and I've got to shape the outside of the burl as well. And you can't just go whacking it with an axe. It's got to be done in a regimented manner. Otherwise, because the burl is empty, it'll just snap and break away. So some people start on the outside, shape it, and then do the inside. I do the inside first, simply because once I've done the inside, so hang on, I lost my train of thought. Once I've done the inside, I can find out if it's broken, because it can break during doing the inside. And there's no point doing all the work on the outside if the inside's going to break. And a lot of time it's down to the fundamental makeup itself because it's all cracked and warped and all sorts. So I'm hoping this is going to be alright, but when you come down to selling something like this, it has to be taken into consideration how long it's taken and the methods used to make it, not just the overall item, if that makes sense. So I've got some quirky items which I sort of put up for sale, and I've been told I sell them too cheaply, but they take me a long time to make. I don't rush them. Now if somebody's not up for buying something like that and they say, well, I can get this and that on eBay a lot cheaper, go to eBay and get one cheaper. It's just these take me an extended period of time, and I have to put a lot of effort and work into it. So I'm going to keep going at this, but before we go any further, I'm going to fetch you and show you a few items that I've made recently. I'll just show you quickly the concept of it. It's that you've got to make sure it's all nice and stable, and then you're just taking it out slowly. I don't use a vice. Everything's done here in this shack as if it would be done in the woods on a wooden block. Just making sure you're not hitting your fingers on the way down. Oh, speaking of which, I said I would have mentioned if I cut my finger. I did cut my finger just there, and I cut it while I was making this, and some people say, well, what is that? And I shall show you. Let's get that out of the way. Get these out of the way. This, my friends, if I can find a nice stable base, is a phone stand, and it works by, it goes like that, yeah, and you can phone, just sit in it like that. I'll bring you closer. There you go. So your phone can sit in it like that, or you can sit in it as so, and there's a gap down there inside so you can put your charger through and charge your phone while it's being done. I'm going to be selling these. This is one of the sort of items I'll be selling. It's made out of English oak, this one. Did you get the idea? Yeah, so it's quirky. I haven't seen anywhere else you can get that. And it just sits in there, or you can sit it on there like that and watch your films, and it gives you a distinctive woodlandy, bushcrafty feel to using your phone in the office, side of your bed, whatever you want to use it really. Something else I've got is, I got a piece of oak, and I found that it had got this shape to it on the end. It's thrashed my head. The only thing I can imagine is that the wind and weather has blown it to that shape, and I couldn't think of anything to do with it. Yeah, so I cut it off there. It just thrashed my head. So it's basically an English oak horn. Yeah, so what I've done is I've also made this. Now there's two items here. There's the ring that I made. I made a ring which goes like that. There's a little oak ring, and that fits onto my little finger like that, so I can wear it like that, but I don't really want to damage it on my hand because I'm always doing bushcraft. So I just put it on here and have it on there. Yeah, and this here is the horned god. Basically it's a Wiccan or very old symbol for Pan. Some people don't realise it's Pan, some people, but it's not the devil. It is basically the horned god, which is basically the god of wildlife, the outdoors and all that kind of stuff. I think it was Christianity or the Catholic Church, I can't remember exactly, so I don't want to designate, but one of those started insinuating that it was a sign for the devil. It's not, and I just have that around my neck all the time, and it feels really, really nice. But at night time, when I go to bed, I basically hang that, no, I'll do it the right way around, that makes sense. I hang that on there, so the horn has become my stand for that, and it's all made out of the same wood. Does that make sense? So I like that, so I'll just pop that back on again. I wear this all the time now, around my neck. It's one of my favourite things. And again, the leather strap's made out of the leather from the back of the sofa. That's going to eventually run out, like, but so there you got this, that there. Trying to think of anything else I've just made recently. I think that's about it for now. But now we're going to get on with this bowl. So upward and onward, and I'll come back to you once the bowl has been shaped, on the inside at least. Right, I've got to that stage. Don't want to take it much further than that. It's got a big crack that goes all the way across, all the way through and in. But it's still solid. So I want to try and keep that solidity. So I'm going to leave it at that. Then I'm going to get my axe and work on the outside and take this edge off. And then work on the inside of here now with other tools like my crook knife, etc. And let's see how it starts to come together. It's a good inch and a half depth between there and there, so it's going to have some weight to it on the bottom, otherwise this crack's just going to open up and fall apart. So I've got to keep some of that integrity there. So basically the only thing holding this thing apart together is from there through to there, because that's just a big crack. Now later on, if I wanted to, I could get some resin and I could fill that in a coloured resin, but I've got to get to that point yet. Alright, but for now, some people might be saying it's not safe to work on something when it's not secure. So basically it's moving around as I'm doing it. Now the reason I'm doing that is because this is so brittle. You can now see the crack. Because this is so brittle, what I'm doing is I'm hitting it, and as I hit it, the energy goes in, it does what it's doing, and then the energy is being released away, so it's not jarring it as much. You can see it's like working like a spring. I've got my little finger over the far edge, and I've got it there. I'm not saying it's the safest method of working, but it's just one that I've come to use, and I find that less things crack and break when I do it like this than I do if I put it in a static situation. Some bits of this are really hard. As it dries out, the fibres become more brittle. They become more difficult to work with. I'm always aware of where my legs are, where my fingers are, apart from then. I cut my finger. It can happen to anybody. I'm working on a knife, and the piece of oak that I'm working with, because oak's so brittle, as I put pressure on to cut it, it basically just snapped away, and that went straight into my finger. I felt it hit the bone, so I know it's hit bone, but it's not gone right across. It's only gone across there, but it's hit me knuckle inside. If that makes sense. It's still open, but I don't like using plasters. I like to get air to it. It bled really badly for about a minute, and then after that, once I got my plasters on, yeah, we're all right. Not to worry. So we're starting to get a bowly sort of shape now, aren't we? But it's slowly, because it's tough, but it's really brittle. That's the problem. It's brittle. Now we're back to this bit, because we've got that sort of idea going on. I've got most of this weight up. The worry I have is once I've got this out, I was going to leave it shallow, but I'm going to keep more depth now. But once I've got that inside out, that it becomes more brittle. So when I start doing the more dynamic stuff on the outside, the worry is that it's going to snap, because it's not much holding that. Obviously as time goes by, it becomes more solid, it solidifies. So I'm literally just lightly tapping on the inside of here and taking the weight back. And it takes a long time, just pecking away like a little ginger woodpecker. You see the ball still moving as I'm doing it. Stopping it becoming too rigid, because that's when things start to snap. But always staying safe. Right, I hope you can see here, I've been working down the edge, but also working on the inside as so. The
but it's going to start getting brittle now. It looks thick. It is thick, because I've got to keep that thickness, because you can see that that crack goes all the way through. From there, it literally goes from there all the way. The only bit holding it on is there, so I've got to be so careful with this now. So moving from that, we're moving on to this with the crook knife. And this is where, I mean, you think this is big. I've been doing this now for like 3 hours, but this is really where the work starts. Taking out all the stuff I don't want from inside, smoothing in, shaping. I can see that patina, not patina, I can see that wood coloration in there already starting to show. So it's going to be a good while before this is done. It just takes ages and ages. Hence why, like I said at the beginning, when you come to sell a bowl, you've got to take into consideration the amount of time it takes to make it. And if somebody wants just a bowl, you can get mass-produced bowls made on electrical equipment in workshops and sheds. But if you want a real sort of bushcraft style handmade bowl, all these are bushcraft tools, then obviously people have got to pay a bit extra. Are they better? No, not any better really, other than that it's been done totally by hand. So if that makes it better for you, then that's where you want to be. But it takes ages. Got that fire going now, it's starting getting a little bit cold, and I've got dogs in here with me. So I'll show you the dogs in a minute. So like I say, keep going and going and going, and it can take weeks. My last ones took months and months, just titivating, looking at them, going back to them, etc, etc. And over a period of time it came together. But I'm hoping it's joint there, but I'm doubting it. If I can see it's not. So if that bit there was to break, it'd have just fallen off. So I'll have to put something in there probably to solidify it, but we'll see. Right, so I'm at this point now. What I'll do here is I'll normally get some sandpaper, just show you. So you can see the crack. It's literally a piece of wood in the crack. Starts and it goes all the way through to the other side. So I'll do something with that. So it's got to have a bit of weight to it, hasn't it? So what I'll do now is I'll go and get some sandpaper and sand it back, because it's difficult to visualise the dynamics of it. But this is one of those cheap knives you get off eBay, Amazon. Got it off my sister, she gave it me. And I've just gone all the way around on the inside, just to make sure that side, the edge, is something like. Yeah, does that make sense? And it's more or less something like, but you can sit here forever and just tip away at things. So I'm going to get some sandpaper now and just sand it on the inside so I can get a better view of the shape of the inside. If that makes any sense. It's not very often I use sandpaper, if I'm going to be honest. Now the reason I can't use my crook knife is because the grain is going in every single direction. And with a crook knife, if it keeps hitting grain, it snarls all the time. Yeah? You can use it to a degree to get into these bits. But I'm struggling with crook knife at the minute, so I just do the best I can. So I'm going to go and get a sandpaper and just sand it through and see what comes out at the end of that. Like. So there you go for now. I'm going to leave it at that for now. It's still got some scribe marks in the bottom. I don't take them all out, but I want to take quite a few more of these. I don't even know what it's going to end up like. What we've got there is a stencil for a future bowl, but the problem with this is that from there all the way through the bowl is a huge crack right up to the far end. So the only bit that's holding it together is this bit of wood just here, and even that's got a slight flaw in it. So it's going to have to be solidified somehow. Now whether I use resin and charcoal, whether I use some other kind of aesthetically pleasing resin like red resin or blue resin, I don't know. Or do I leave the crack in because it's solid enough? But I don't want to take it any thinner than that. It is quite a thick edge on it, but I don't want to take it any thinner than that because then there's just every chance it's going to snap. So it's yeah, quite a bit of work to be done on, and this is the grade 40 sandpaper I've been using. So I can just keep going at it that over a period of time. You see, I'm not rushing these. I never have rushed them. So why does it take me so long? And I keep going at them until I'm happy with them, and I make all kinds of different balls and different things. Tomorrow, me and Ian are going to be going and get some more oak for these phone holders, phone stands. If anybody's interested in a phone stand, drop me a message, add me on Facebook, whatever, and we'll see if we can sort some out. But they're all going to be different, all different shaped, quirky bits of wood. And there it is. So I'm going to leave that in the shed. I might even put some, in fact I'm going to put some coconut oil on it just to protect it a little bit from the elements. I don't know what the weather's going to be doing, so there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Well, thank you very much for watching. I'll keep you updated as to how this goes. No idea what it's like. I said, I've got all these to sharpen in a second, but I've no idea how it's going to turn out. Thank you very much for watching from me and my little babies, and we'll see you all in the next one. Bye for now. Oh yeah, don't forget to go and check out Ian and Ian's Fantastic Adventures. It's all there waiting for you.